Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. After more than a dozen years, there has been a changing of the guard at the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office. Recently, a new acting prosecutor was sworn in. The move ends John Molinelli's long tenure as prosecutor. Sherry Karabin takes a look back at some of his major cases and accomplishments. Sherry.
Thank you, Larry. During his 14 years as Bergen County prosecutor, John Molinelli upgraded the technology, handled many important cases, and created specialized units. Now he's hanging up his prosecutor's hat and going back to private practice, but not before he attends a big bash in his honor in Washington Township. It was a retirement party to remember as family, colleagues, and officials filled seasons in Washington Township to pay tribute to Bergen County prosecutor John Molinelli. Over 400 people showed up at the January 7th event to bid Molinelli farewell and highlight his 14 years in office.
John, thank you so much for your dedication and service.
You know, I'm a Republican, he's a Democrat, but you have to recognize the effort that people put in. And he has done a lot of things to keep gang violence and drugs to some degree under control. And we would be a lot worse off if those efforts were not made.
I've been an assistant prosecutor for 30 years. I've worked with him and under him for 14 years, the 14 years he's been here. And I could say unequivocally during that period of time, he's been the best prosecutor that we've ever had.
He's very reasonable. He's very very lawyer-like in his mannerisms. He treats everyone with courtesy and respect. He always had his office, available for defense attorneys to come in and speak to, and he would listen to your point of view.
A graduate of New York Law School, Molinelli began as a New Jersey Superior Court judicial law clerk. In 1983, he embarked on a long career in private practice that lasted until former Governor James McGreevey nominated him for Bergen County prosecutor. Since taking the reins in 2002, Molinelli says he's not only upgraded the office's technology, he's also added several specialized units, including one dedicated to cyber crimes.
When I built it, I didn't realize then, but I learned very quickly that there was such a need for cyber investigations in every crime, not just for the online predators, but for homicides, missing children, sex crimes.
There's also an intelligence unit that allows law enforcement officials to track crimes throughout the county, identifying patterns and creating criminal profiles. And that's not all.
We have our own medical unit for victims of sexual assault. We're the only county prosecutor's office in the state that has that.
He brought his experience in the private sector into the public sector. He tried to run the office more with a business model, which I think was very helpful.
Molinelli says he's made it a priority to respond to media requests, relying on social media in some cases to accommodate the growing number of media outlets.
I myself used Twitter quite a bit in my role as prosecutor. I didn't use it as a primary advisory for the media, but at 3 o'clock in the morning when there was a story breaking, when I knew I just had to at least get out what had happened, I would use Twitter, and I just wish that I had it 14 years ago. It would have been a lot easier.
His term technically ended in 2013. While he almost retired 18 months ago, he says he had hoped to oversee the conclusion of a few cases. But when Governor Chris Christie made it clear he would not appoint him to a third term, he says he decided it was time to go. His last day in the office was December 31st, 2015.
He said, you know, I really like to replace you, John. So that's when I said, okay, it's time to put my papers in, and I chose the end of 2015.
Molinelli is now a partner at the Woodcliff Lake law firm Price, Meese, Shulman, and Arminio, providing advice to governmental entities on a number of matters, including law enforcement and public safety.
I have no regrets. It's the right time, and I'm very much going to welcome the private life and the private practice.
This is Sherry Karabin reporting for Jersey Matters.
Thank you, Sherry, and have a wonderful retirement, Mr. Molinelli. You've earned it. That wraps it up for Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. Stick around for another thing.